Hello everybody. I hope you've had a lovely half term and you enjoyed all that fantastic weather that we had. Now today I'm going to do a little bit more work on ledger lines so that we can understand how we can write notes that don't fit on the stave. Okay, so last time when we were together we did the notes below the stave, and I hope you can remember. I'm just going to remind you a little bit. So here's our bass clef, here's our treble clef, and the bottom note on the treble clef that's on the first line is an E. Then we also have below the E a D, and then below the D we draw a little ledger line that's the same distance away from the other lines. Sorry, it's trying to escape. My board is terribly badly behaved today. And that is where we put C, and that is middle C. And middle C has the same sound, that note, as if we come from the bass clef, and that's our top line, our fifth line on the bass clef, which is an A, and then the space just above the A on the bass clef is a B, and then we draw a little ledger line, and that is a C. And that C is exactly the same note, has exactly the same sound. It's just if you were playing it on the piano, you would be playing it with your left hand. So it would be your thumb on your left hand would play that C, that middle C. And if you were playing middle C with your right hand, if you're just learning to play the piano, it is going to be with this thumb, your right thumb. So it depends which hand you're playing with. But it has exactly the same sound and it is exactly the same note. Now, so that's the bottom of the stave, and we did some work on that last time. So now let's turn our attention to the top of the stave. And always remember, notes can only ever be on a line or in a space. They can't go anywhere else. There isn't anywhere else for them to go. Just like numbers are either always odd or always even. You can't have a number that's not odd or even. And if it's got a 1 on the end, it's always going to be an odd number. If it's got a 4 on the end, it's always going to be an even number. So just as with numbers, we can only have odd and even, with music, we can only have lines or spaces. Now, the tricky thing is, though, that sometimes C can be on a line and sometimes C can be in a space. So let's have a little look at that. And I wonder who can realise why that is. So first of all, let's write out our musical alphabet. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. 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 Now, I'm just going to fill in a bit this way as well and put all the dots, because the dots mean it continues the same. Okay, so let's now carry on up the stave and see what letter we finish with, and then what letter will come after that. So after E, in our normal alphabet and in our musical alphabet, we have F. So F, it goes on to the first space. And then after F, we have G. So G goes on to the second line. After G, we have A. A goes into the second space. After A, we have B. B goes on to the third line. After B, we have C. C goes into the third space. Then after C, we have D. D goes onto the fourth line, and after D we have E. E goes into the fourth space, and then finally on the stave we have F. That's the fifth line. Now, can you see how that C there is on a line, but the next C is in a space? Now look at this one. This D is in a space, but the next D is on a line. This E is on a line, but the next E is in a space. This F is in a space, and the next F is on a line. So I hope you can see there's a little bit of a pattern there. And maybe you can work out, have a little think about it. Why is it that it swaps about? Why isn't an E always on a line? Why is it sometimes on a line and sometimes in a space? We'll talk about that when we're all back at school together. But I just wanted to show you that. Now, I'm going to rub out the board, so I'm just going to get my rubber. I'll be back in a minute. Now, so I'm going to rub all this out, but I want you to remember that the F is the top line. It's the fifth line. So I'm leaving those letters in there because I want you to remember those. So we'll put F here. Right, so here comes the question. Where is G going to go? I know somebody called out the right answer. G is going to go into the next space. Remember, it's always line, space, line, space. So there is our G. So if it's line, space, and G is the last letter of our musical alphabet, and then we start again, where will the A go? Let me see. Well, it must go on a line, mustn't it? But we've run out of lines, so what do? That's right, we have to draw a little ledger line. Just like that. And we put A. Now, we never, ever, ever draw the line going all the way across like that. Even if we had loads of A's, loads and loads and loads of them, you never, ever see that. Now, you might say to me, but Janie, that would be so much easier to just have one big long line when there's loads of A's. Aha! But I'm going to say to you why we don't do that. It's because it would make it really difficult to read. Is that the E line? Is that the F line? Because F is the top line. It would be very, very tricky. So we don't do that. Even if we have got a whole string of A's next to each other, each one gets their own little ledger line. And then we can read very easily that it's the line after the F. So we know if that's F, and there's a space between that line and that line. After F in our alphabet, we have G. So G must go into that space. So the next line must be A. Well, let's just carry on a bit further up then, because if you ever play the flute or the violin, you will get used to reading these ledger lines very, very easily, because you have loads of them. So let's see now. After the A, what letter do we have in our alphabet and our musical alphabet? We have B. But we haven't got a space. So this is what we do. We draw a line, the A line, but we don't put the A on there because we don't want an A, we want a B. So we put the B above it like that. Now, the rule in music is you only draw as many lines as you need. We don't need another line above that because we can read that. We can see that's the A line. That is directly on top of the A line, so it must be B. We don't need to draw another line on top of that. That's just going to make it confusing. But if we're going to draw a C on top of that, we know C comes after B. If B is a space, C must be a line. So we draw another ledger line. We leave a space. We draw another ledger line. So can you see that all the lines are the same distance apart? We don't do one here, then another one there, because that would get very untidy and it would be very difficult to read. So always everything is kept neat and even. So we don't have to draw the B because we're looking to draw a C. So we know the C is going to follow the B. The B is in a space, so the C must be in a line, or on a line, I should say. So there we have a C. So there you are. I hope that makes a little bit more sense to you now. And the good thing about these videos is if anything you think, I didn't understand what Janie said there, you can just rewind it and watch it again. So it's really useful. Now, I'm just going to pause my video for a minute, take my board down and allow you to go and get your recorder. So just a moment. Be back in a sec. Hi, well, I've moved, as you can see, my board from behind me because otherwise it's quite distracting. And I've got my recorder and I've got my music. Now, the music I want us to have a look at is music set 3, but page 13. So that's what we're going to play today. But if you can't remember how to make any of the notes, the shape that your fingers make, please have a look at the side of the page with the yellow tab on it. And every time it tells you how to play the notes. So we've learned to play 3 notes so far, B, A, and G. And this is G, it's on the second line, and that's how you play it. Always, always left hand at the top. Don't forget that. And then always have your right hand supporting your recorder at the bottom, like that. Because I don't want you to be clacking against your teeth, which, as you know, I'm very, very concerned about all your teeth because you're only just getting your big teeth. So now, let us take our music. So we're going to look at page 13, Gift of the Gab. Now, at the very beginning, we've got 4 whole bars of rest. Remember that big, thick black line shows you that it's more than 1 bar of rest. And the number 4 at the top tells us how many bars it is. And in this piece, it's 4 bars. We've got 4 beats to each bar. So that means we're going to have 4 lots of 4 beats rest before we come in. Who can tell me what 4 times 4 is? I heard you. That's right. It's 16. So then we've got, now you be very careful when you do this because you've got a whole load of notes all in the same place, but then it moves. So I want you to really look at your music very carefully when you're playing it. So it goes B, 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 but then it goes down into the second space. A, 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 and then what have we got here? A dotted A, so it's 3 beats long. Then we've got a rest, and then we've got a whole bar of rest and another whole bar of rest. Then we start again, B, 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 A, G, and that's the first G we've played in this piece of music. That's our new note. And that's a long note. So that's G for the whole 4 beats. Then we've got a bar of rest. Then we've got A, rest, rest, B, 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 rest, 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 B, 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 G. And then we repeat right back to the beginning. So we've got another 4 bars, oh, I can't speak, another whole 4 bars rest before we start playing. Now, because I'm not going to play it with the CD, I'm just going to play it for you once through the whole pattern. And then you can play it with me. And then when you get really good at moving your fingers in the right places, then put the CD on. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to tilt my screen so that you will be able to see my fingers better. There we are. I hope you can see them very easily now. But my eyes are going to not be looking at you anymore. They're going to be looking right down on my recorded music, because otherwise I will lose my place and go all wrong. And we don't want that to happen. So always, always have your eyeballs fixed onto your music. So let's start. I'm going to just count, instead of doing 4 whole bars of 4 rest, that's 16 beats. That's quite a lot of counting. So I think that would be a bit boring for me to do that. So I'm going to, not for me, but for you to listen to. So I'm going to just count 4 beats in, 1 whole bar in, and then I'm going to start playing. So just, you'll hear my foot tapping, and then we're going to start. Sorry, 1 second, I've got a frog in my throat. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then it repeats the whole thing from the very beginning. Don't forget that if you're playing the whole thing with the music, that you will have to wait 4 whole bars before you start playing again at the very beginning here. Okay, but because I'm not playing it with the music, I just thought I'll just do it once, because otherwise you'll have to let me wait to count 4 whole bars. Now, did you notice that my eyes were fixed always on my music? And maybe you could hear my foot just going tap, 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 tap. Do you know, I don't know a musician who doesn't tap when they play. Either actually tap their leg or tap their foot, or somewhere or other in their body they're using another part of their body to count. So don't think, ooh, that's really, I can't do that. You absolutely can do that, and you should do that, because it will help you. Because I don't want you to speed up on the bits where you're not actually playing, because the other people are playing. The orchestra is playing, or in this case, the chap is singing the words. So if we race through the bit that we're not doing, then where's his singing going to go? So you've got to stay on your train track at the same speed all the time. All right then, everybody. I hope you have lots of fun playing that, and I look forward very, very much to hearing it. Lots of love to you all. Bye-bye, sweethearts. Bye-bye.